If there's one thing I learned by watching humans from the top of the window, it's that almost everyone thinks poverty happens because of bad luck, because of the government, because of the boss, because of the market, because of something external. Almost no one realizes that, most of the time, poverty doesn't arrive as an accident. It is built. Silently. One habit at a time. One seemingly small decision at a time. I know this because, for a long time, I myself was that cat. The investor cat who thought he was being prudent, responsible, mature. Until the day I realized I was just very well trained. There is a hidden number in people's financial lives. An invisible milestone. A psychological point that separates those who build freedom from those who only learn to survive better inside their own cage. Most people think this number is the ideal salary, the value of their own house, the dream car. But it's not. And while everyone keeps looking at these wrong trophies, they spend their entire lives making decisions that seem mature, safe, sensible, and that, in the long run, build exactly the opposite of what they promise. I've always been a cat obsessed with patterns. With behavior. With these invisible traps the mind creates to protect itself from fear. I like observing humans the way I observe birds. At first everything seems random, but after a while you start to see the cycles, the routines, the predictable movements. And if you like this kind of conversation, the kind that isn't comfortable but sets you free, subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Not for me. For your future. Now let me tell you what I saw. For a long time, I lived like an exemplary human. I woke up at the right time. I worked. I paid everything on time. I had my comfortable bed, my good quality food, my organized toys. Everything seemed in order. It was like always sleeping in the same corner of the couch. Maybe it wasn't the best place in the house, but it was familiar. And what's familiar is less scary. But there is a huge difference between being comfortable and being safe. And an even bigger difference between being safe and being free. The brain, both human and cat, was made to survive, not to get rich. It loves predictability. It loves routine. It loves anything that reduces uncertainty. And so it creates very convincing stories. Stories that say, stay where you are. Keep doing what you're doing. At least this works. It works to not die. But it doesn't work to live big. The first big decision that keeps people poor forever is deciding to organize their entire lives around not feeling pain. Not struggling. Not being embarrassed. Not taking risks. It sounds sensible. It sounds mature. But that's exactly how you build a small life. I see this all the time, humans choosing jobs they hate because, at least it's stable. Keeping lifestyles that suffocate them because, you can't go back now. Buying things they don't need to prove to people who don't care that they're doing well. It's like a cat who always chooses to sleep in the same box, even when the whole house is open. Just because that box is familiar. At first it feels like safety. Then it becomes a prison. There is a brutal difference between avoiding pain and seeking growth. Those who live only to avoid pain organize their entire lives to not fall. Those who seek growth accept that sometimes they will stumble. And it's exactly this difference that defines who spends their whole life just maintaining, and who builds something that grows. The second silent decision is increasing your lifestyle every time your income increases. This is one of the cruelest traps I've ever seen. It works like this. The human starts earning little, lives tight, dreams of relief. Then gets a promotion, a raise, some extra money. For a few months, feels relief. And then, almost without noticing, changes houses, upgrades the car, signs up for more services, starts spending like someone at the new level. Result? Almost nothing is left over. Still totally dependent on the next paycheck. It's like buying a bigger and bigger litter box. It looks like progress. But now you have to clean it every day. And the bigger it gets, the more of your life you spend just maintaining it. There are studies, the kind nobody pays attention to until they feel it themselves, showing that in most cases financial well-being quickly returns to the same level after an income increase. Not because the person didn't earn more, but because they reorganized their entire life to never have any surplus. The problem was never how much comes in. It's how much you decide you need to live. I once did a simple calculation sitting on the window. Imagine someone who earns $5,000 and lives on $4,500. 500 is left over. Then that person starts earning 7,000. What would be logical? Keep living on 4,500 and invest 2,500. What happens in practice? They start living on 6,500. And 500 is still left over. For the rest of their life. It's not lack of money. It's lack of margin. And margin is freedom. The third decision that imprisons people is structuring their entire lives around installments. Installments aren't the problem. The problem is turning your entire existence into an endless sequence of future commitments. It's always owing a piece of tomorrow. It's waking up every month already knowing that a huge part of your life's time is committed before you even decide anything. I saw this like a cat watching humans chasing their own tails. They work to pay for things they bought to feel better about working so much. It's a perfect cycle. For the system. Not for those living inside it. When you live like this, any unexpected event becomes panic. Any opportunity becomes a threat. Any change seems impossible. Because you have no room to maneuver. No air. No silence. No time. Only obligations. The fourth fatal decision is confusing movement with progress. This one is subtle. And extremely dangerous. Many people work more every year. Earn a little more. Buy a little more. Get more tired. And call this evolution. But in practice they're just getting busier in the same place. It's like a cat on a treadmill, always walking, never getting anywhere. The body moves. Life doesn't. Progress is not effort. Progress is the distance between where you are and where you want to go. And if that distance isn't shrinking, it doesn't matter how tired you are. You are not moving forward. The fifth decision, maybe the most dangerous of all, is endlessly postponing the construction of the future. It's living by saying, I'll think about it later. When I earn more. When things are calmer. When there's something left over. That later becomes years. And years pass faster than anyone imagines. It's like planting a tree and spending months looking at empty soil. Those who don't understand the process give up. Those who do keep watering even when they see nothing. The math here is cruelly simple. If you manage to invest a modest amount every month for long enough, compound interest does something almost magical. At first it seems useless, too small to make any real difference. But after a certain point, that hidden number, that invisible milestone, growth starts to accelerate on its own. Each year begins to generate more than you can put in with your own money. That's the moment when money starts working more for you than you work for it. Before that, a person thinks like a survivor, how do I pay this month's bills? After that, they start thinking like a builder, how do I buy my time back? This change isn't just financial. It's about identity. Before, you see yourself as someone who has to run. After, as someone who is building. Before, every problem feels like an existential threat. After, it becomes just another variable in the game. It took me a long time to understand this. For years, I also just wanted to improve my life a little. A better cushion. Better food. A taller scratching post. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is when every improvement comes with a new invisible leash. I've seen people turn down opportunities because now isn't the time to take risks. I've seen people trapped in careers they hate because their lifestyle doesn't allow them to step back even 2 steps. I've seen couples fighting not because of lack of love, but because of lack of margin. And this is where the big mindset shift happens. Stop thinking only in terms of cost and start thinking in terms of opportunity cost. It's not, can I afford this? It's, what is this costing me in future freedom? Every big decision starts being measured by a simple question. Does this bring me closer to the life I want or farther away? After you cross the milestone, everything changes. You start choosing differently. You start saying no more often. Not because you can't, but because you understand that every yes buys a life you might not want. Your mind will try to sabotage you. It always does. It will say, you deserve it. Just this once. Life is now. And it's true. Life is now. But it's also tomorrow. And the day after. And the one after that. The real benefit was never just money. It's sleeping without that weight on your chest. It's knowing you can leave if you want to. It's being able to look at a situation and say, this no longer makes sense, and change direction. In the end, these 5 decisions seem small, reasonable, adult, responsible. But added up over decades, they build an entire life of dependence. A life where you're never really poor, but you're also never really free. The hidden number, that invisible milestone, doesn't show up on a bank statement. It shows up on the day you realize your time is starting to come back to you. On the day you realize that past decisions have finally started working in your favor. And when that happens, you never look at money, work, and life the same way again. Maybe, as you listen to this, something is shifting inside you. A mild discomfort. A question that no longer wants to stay quiet. That strange feeling of realizing that, for a long time, you were just keeping the wheel spinning, but not choosing where it was going. I learned something simple by watching my own life and the lives of humans. Almost no one is truly trapped. Most people just never stop running long enough to realize the cage door isn't even locked. In the end, the greatest risk isn't making wrong decisions. It's spending your entire life making decisions that are too small to change anything. And if you made it this far, maybe you've already realized that none of these decisions happen all at once. They're made little by little, almost silently, like a cat getting used to sleeping in the same corner, and when it notices, it has already forgotten that the whole house is his. The good news is that if small decisions can build a prison, small decisions can also build an exit. You don't need to turn everything upside down today. But you do need, at least, to start seeing the cage. If some part of this story kept echoing inside you, don't ignore it. That discomfort is usually the beginning of big changes. And if you want to keep training this different way of looking at money, time, and freedom, subscribe to the channel and leave a like now. Not for the algorithm, but as a silent commitment to yourself not to go back to living on autopilot. Because, in the end, life is too short to spend every day just keeping everything standing, and too long to keep pretending that this is enough.